Hi everyone, this is Lori with 3 Keys Astrology, and this is your weekly forecast for June the 1st through the 9th. Again, happy birthday to all of you that are Gemini, and I think you should know that this can be a really interesting month for all of us. And this has to do with a really cool thing that's happening because Venus is going to move into Leo, and Mars is already tenated there, and Venus and Mars are the lovers. It's going to be quite interesting because we also have a full moon, and that's going to happen on Saturday, June the 3rd at 13 degrees Sagittarius. Now, all of you who are my students know that we've got some signs that have the potential to be twins. Gemini does, Pisces does, and Sagittarius does. And within their natures, there's a duality that's forever until it's actualized, or some kind of maturity, or some kind of life crisis, or with the help of a therapist, helps them integrate those both sides of their nature. This will be quite the roller coaster ride of a full moon, mark my words. For you that are Sagittarius, this is the commencement of something you tried to accomplish and did in this last year. And Sagittarians are the sign most apt to achieve higher education. They are one of the smartest signs in the zodiac. And at this time of the year, it is commencement. It is graduation. You did complete your final exams. You did earn your degree. So congratulations to all of you out there who are striving to be a better person and to achieve. This full moon culmination means that Sagittarius, now you're on to the next step. This mostly affects Sag, Pisces, Virgos, and Geminis, this full moon. And I'm going to give you a lot of details about this ingression of Venus into Leo, where Mars is already waiting for her. He got into Leo on the 21st of May, and this can be very exciting, very passionate, but it can turn, I'll explain to you how. So before I get into the daily forecast, I'll tell you, this is happening on Tuesday, June the 6th, can be the 7th, wherever you live, that Venus is going into Leo. Venus in Leo, when I read for women, and I'm close to 9,000 readings all over the world in my practice, in my business. If you want a reading, go to www.3keysastrology.com. If you want to become a student, I'm taking a vacation period, but we will pick that up for those of you that are still interested in the star module. Same thing. But anything you want from me, consultations, advisement, readings, go to www.3keysastrology.com. I am paid through PayPal, and Apple Pay is now part of PayPal. So we meet on Zoom, and the readings are an hour long. For those of you that want to become students, that's a possibility if you have twice a week for an hour and a half to learn with me. And in 20 weeks, you will have enough knowledge to open your own astrology practice. Now, the big event is unquestionably that the sun is in Gemini all month long. Remember the power of the sun. And what Gemini gives us in its powers, and those people that are Gemini, we can expect a rational human being, someone who's very realistic. They're hands-on. Gemini rules the hands, the arms, the shoulders. And these people like to get into hands-on situations. And in their mental abilities, they're very realistic, but the dilemma they face is they're so realistic that they're able to see both sides of situations. Libras fall prey to this, that can turn problematic as well. Please excuse me. For those of you that think astrology is so cool like I do, on a side note, I warned you about burns. Do you remember that? Fires and burns in last week's video. And I talked about when that full moon that happened in Scorpio, how we Taurians, Scorpios, Aquarians, and Leos would be a little under the weather. Comment below if this has happened to you. So on fires. I'll give you an example of what happened to me yesterday. I literally burned the bottom of my foot, serious second degree burns, my left foot, and I have I'm a Cancer rising, and I talked to you about that dilemma to beware, be careful, be careful. And it happened all of a sudden because at the moment in time, Uranus was very conjunct the sun. And I cautioned you to be careful, not to rush, not to race, that accident potential was high, and more importantly, fires. And lo and behold, yesterday, while trying to start the barbecue grill, I had an accident and I've got 4 huge blisters on the bottom of my left foot and burned my right big toe as well on the bottom of my foot. So one of my former students who lives in London, who is also Cancer rising, we were bantering back and forth in the month of, at the end of April and May, how we were more accident prone and running into things and banging our bodies up with this dilemma because Mars was in Cancer. So astrology is really, really cool. If you're interested in health, if you're a health practitioner, chiropractor, naturopath, nurse's aides, and any of those professions, even the mental professions, I've read for a lot of people that practice, that are healthcare practitioners. It's my great pleasure. And if you are interested in astrology with remedy, I taught a class last summer that depicted the remedies for all signs and gave you lots of interesting medicine. If you're interested in that, you can get those videos privately. So email me at ducky@3keysastrology.com. Sorry for the side note, but this month of June, in a coincidental or maybe subliminal understanding, tells us that the full moon in Gemini is quite the roller coaster. Excuse me. The sun in Gemini, the full moon in Sagittarius is quite the roller coaster. And that happens on June the 3rd. June the 6th is when Venus moves into Leo. That's a bit uncomfortable for Geminis. And I'll get into the explanation for why that is. But more importantly, my burned feet. So just imagine, can you imagine? I mean, I think of all the tragedies that there are, it is burn victims that suffer the most. I've never in my life had blisters on the bottom of my feet. I ended up stepping on hot coals while we were getting our barbecue grill ready, and they stick to the skin, and it was excruciating pain for most of the night. I want you to know that this month of June, in your love life most especially, and with this full moon culmination, that you can think of life walking over burning coals. We've seen people that try to have mental feats to bear that in mind, but it's roller coastery for sure. And those are the biggest features, keeping in mind, excuse me, that Pluto in all of its big dark powers, sorry, excuse me again. Okay. I have done lots of videos since maybe the end of March on Pluto's ingression into Aquarius. Pluto is now retrograde, and Mercury is going to be out of the retrograde phase by the time you see this video. But Pluto still is until June the 11th. So 2 days after this forecast, Pluto's still in this repairable, regenerative mode for you to help clean your life up. I've done lots of videos, so go binge on the channel and check those videos out, especially if you're Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, most especially Aquarius. But at this moment in time, June 1st through the 9th, Pluto's kind of a dark horse in the background. Have you ever gone to a function where you were a bit of a stranger to most of the crowd, and you were very well aware of a dark figure in the crowd? Many of us that are intuitives can be in a group, a happy group, and will sense and feel that underdog or that person, if it's a dark horse or someone that's manipulating things in the background will feel their presence. This is kind of the energy that Pluto's playing during this full moon, and he is not favorable to Gemini, and he's not favorable to Leo in his current position. He's trying mostly to get the earth signs to once and for all get rid of our junk, our past, to purge. But he's playing a little bit of a dark figure to the lovers. And then we have the full moon. And at every full moon, each month, and sometimes a super moon means we have 2 in 1 month, at every potential, tides and emotions are high. The lovers, the sun and the moon, and Mars and Venus, in that sun and moon energy of in the subconscious realm, are in a contest with each other. And this is a time when couples most especially need to realize that these phases are occurring. If you're listening to these videos, you know that now you have to be more vigilant than ever to try to be cooperative and to get along. That is so true these first 9 days of June. So we're going to start. I'll talk to you about the dailies, and then I'll get into the details of how edgy this can get. Our June begins on a Thursday. And remember, I talked to you about the planetary names for our days of the week. Thursday belongs to Jupiter, but Jupiter's in Aries. And so not only is Sagittarius having this culmination and ending, so are Leos and so are Aries. And Aries has had quite the roller coastery months in February and March, which reflected their polar opposite sign, Libra. So on June 1st, Thursday, the moon is going to be in Scorpio. And this is moody. This is a moody moon. This is a moon that's feeling jealous or vengeful, or a moon that's feeling not included. And therein lies why Scorpios have that tendency to hang back and to hold back and not to let you know how pissed off they are at you until there's a big explosion. So we've got that energy on the 1st. Remember, we're building to a full moon, and it's going to be in Sagittarius. So this is a couple days before. And at this time, the moon is opposite Jupiter. We can expect our Scorpio friends, if any of your 3 keys are in Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising sign, or you have a stellium in Scorpio, that makes you a super Scorpio. If you're listening, Tara, I am talking to you. You're going to feel this energy so powerfully. You're going to be meeting Tara. My fellow students and I are going to show you what it's like if you've never had a reading before. And if you have had and you're already a lover of astrology, you're going to see how cool it is as we each give our input into this super Scorpio's energy and talk about her life to her while she's there to respond in real time. That's going to be very cool. Be looking for that. And I would say it's going to be closer to the end of summer as I take some vacation time. So mind your own business day is what Jupiter's telling us about the very first Thursday, with Moon in Scorpio, Sun in Gemini, and Jupiter in Aries. Mars is in Leo. And this moon is opposite Jupiter, which I explained to you, but it's squaring Mars. And so it amplifies that energy that Scorpios feel of, I didn't get mine, and you stole from me, and you took what was mine. And they hold on and carry grudges and grievances, usually for a lifetime, Scorpio moons. Scorpio suns do as well. And so beware of all that energy. For the rest of us, I think, again, the theme of the day should be mind your own business day. You can talk to me and you can thank me later as your astrologer, because this is a tricky one. And this applies most especially to Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius, Gemini, and Pisces. Night shift workers expect, especially, should hear this forecast, because it's going to be a big deal for you that are working in those departments. On a less humorous note, Scorpios also have a tendency to be criminal, of all the signs in the zodiac, and hopefully they're on the good side of criminality, but the fact of the matter is they're often not. And because of their nature, the crime is really personal. And what does that mean? It means bloodshed, and it means death, and it means high strung emotions that turn pretty ugly. So that is how we're starting our June 1st. Friday, June the 2nd, overnight is going to be rough, but after lunch there's some sweetness for especially Cancers, Scorpios who are good Scorpios, and Pisces. It's a great night to make love and to show love to your family. Make lots of love. The passion's going to be really high, and that'll counteract the opposition that happens at every full moon. The moon is sextiling on Saturday at 1 o'clock in the morning overnight when this full moon's on the rise and occurring. The moon is going to sextile Pluto at 1 o'clock in the morning. So if you're lovers or people who work the night shift, or you're not getting in bed until late, if you're the young population, you go to bed a lot earlier than we that are older. At 1 o'clock in the morning, one of my favorite configurations, moon sextiling Pluto, is very, very powerful. And that is wonderful for Sagittarians, for Taurians, because the moon is exalted in our sign, and for Cancer. Later on in the morning, though, for those of you that are more tapped into the energy of the vengeance that was that Scorpio moon, or are feeling dissension in relationships, because this is about men and women getting along, couples and lovers, full moons are, and Venus and Mars together, and Leo are the lovers as well. So mark my words, every bit of what I'm going to say to you today has to do with interpersonal relationships, and romantic, committed, and romance that's on the rocks for sure. So at 3 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, when this full moon's on the rise, we've got a square that is really going to cause strife, most especially for Sagittarius, Pisces, Gemini, and Virgos. And the strife, it starts, something niggling can be happening around 3 o'clock in the morning, but the buildup has already been going on. And we know that. Depending on your sign and the way you cope with conflict, some people let things stew and simmer and burn till there's an explosion and a boiling point. Full moons can be boiling points. So there's a lot of strife at lunchtime on Saturday. This full moon is supposed to happen on the East Coast at 11:42 p.m. And at that moment, we've got the sun in full bloom in Gemini, and Sagittarius and the sun at 13 degrees, Gemini versus Sagittarius. And the one good thing that's going to happen after lunch until 3 o'clock is, while this full moon is rising, the moon's in a harmonious position to Mars. And what that means is your willpower and your passion to behave and do the right thing are synchronized. And again, that's masculine energy, that's drive, that's sexuality. This is going to be a pretty hot full moon, and like I said, like a roller coaster. Why? Because Gemini is a twin, Sagittarius is a twin. Are 4 people in bed making love with each other? Could be. Are 4 people fighting with each other in conflict? Could be. Always try to see through the veils of Pisces, Sagittarius, and Gemini, because there's an alter ego lurking in the character and persona of the people that have 3 keys in Gemini, Sag, Pisces. And so that takes care of our Saturday. So we've got a big old full moon that's rather roller coastery. This is mental energy. So what's going to happen and to counter this, you can get physical. And like I said, overnight, take advantage of that moon sextiling Pluto between Friday night and Saturday night. Stay in that energy of closeness and express yourself in that mind your own business day energy that starts the month. I think it would be better for you to try to stay out of the mental realm. That's going to trap you, because Gemini is a mental sign, Sagittarius is highly mental, and that's where you'll start overthinking things and start belittling and Friday the night before, really getting deep into the neurosis that is the relationship, and all the griefs pass, because that potential is super high with the moon in Scorpio that starts our June 1st and carries its energy into this full moon. On Sunday, June the 4th, I again am going to ask you to try to be quiet, button your lips, put your tongue in the freezer until Tuesday, June the 6th. The quiet will survive this roller coaster. And so we've got that advice, is especially for Taurus and Sagittarius. On Monday, June the 5th, we've got the moon is now in Capricorn. And this is the day that Venus enters Leo at 9:46 in the morning. This is great for the fire signs, Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo. And it can be really great also on this day for Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. It's a great day to put your nose to the grindstone on this day. This energy is happy for Pisces. This energy is, again, a reflection that if you do the work you need to do, your physical work, you spend time quietly in the garden or tending the earth, taking care of your home. This energy is great for home repairs and getting things ready, spring fresh. But if you don't mind your own business, this can be really still very problematic. You can get plenty things done with this energy. I think that I should tell you that Leo and Aquarius, Monday, June the 5th, can be difficult if you're in some kind of contest with authority. That's still lingering. It's been lingering for a while on a couple of the signs. And this is even the Leo versus the Aquarius. If it could be that the two signs are in a problem with each other. I hope that's not family. I hope that it's less personal and it's at the job, but it can be both. And what I would say is, Leo, you've got to cool your temper and your bossiness, and Aquarius, you need to warm up your ability. Your go-to modus operandi is to be cold, detached, and to shut people off. So each other needs to come to the middle, warm up a little bit, Aquarius, get a little more heart-centered, which is who Leo is, your polar opposite. And Leo, cool your jets and try to step back like Aquarius was and look to see how you might be overbearing and overpowering the situation. On June the 6th, Tuesday, this is also Venus will be into Leo this day. This is a very favorable day after 10 a.m. for the West Coast, 1 p.m. on the East Coast. And this is great energy for Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo, Pisces. It's excellent energy for children. It's excellent energy for dreaminess, invention, coziness. This is a very huggable day and one of my favorite days. On June the 4th, carry that energy over, June the 7th. Carry the energy that you had and the good memories you'll have made on June 6th into your June 7th. Aquarius, stay true to your heart and realize who most matters, and who most matters in your life is what this is all about, especially for you with Pluto where it is and this full moon that's been tempestuous. I would say that some really good ground can be broken with the moon conjunct Pluto on this day, Aquarians, and this happens after midnight East Coast and around 3 to 5 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. Stay locked into your priorities, everyone listening to this forecast. Be with family the rest of the day. Be with the people who you most want to be with. Otherwise, you'll want to pull your hair out of your head if you stay in that dynamic of power struggle. Hear me, Leo. Hear me, Taurus. Both signs and Aquarians. Taurus and Leo are animal signs. One is the lion and one is the bull. And there's a courage that is innate in both of these character types. And so try not to get nasty on this day, Leo and Taurus. Don't spoil it. Don't poison it. Again, quiet wins now. I hope you can stay tuned to that great energy that was the day before June 6th. Carry it with you to June 7th. Now, Thursday, June the 8th, there's a lot of morning bliss, but frustration station starts to happen around lunchtime. It's around 2:30 in the afternoon, lunchtime for the West Coast, 2:30 in the afternoon for the East Coast. And that's because we've got a moon and a square to Uranus. And so there's someone blocking progress. And this is public agitation. This is your emotional needs aren't being met by someone who's a little too rash, a little too in a hurry, a little too cold, a little too self-interested. So this can be highly annoying energy and highly frustrating. This day is difficult too for little ones and mothers. So knowing this forecast, plan ahead. Don't be rushing in a hurry to get the children off to where they need to be that morning, because there's not going to be much cooperation on this day. There can be a lot of fighting around siblings, and it's quite the emotional, feeling like you're stuck in quite the emotional quandary. I don't love this day. It's highly frustrating. On June the 9th, the moon is in Pisces, so if you were able to adhere to the quiet, keep your tongue in the freezer, stay quiet, do your work, be the peacemaker. June the 9th is quite rewarding. The moon is going to be in Pisces. I love this moon. It's not so fun for Geminis. Your natures are the opposite of what a Pisces is. But this is big, high reward for the gentle, the quiet, the introvert, those that make everything feel better. And it's kind of a feeling that everything's going to be okay. So tap into that energy and be the one who is understanding on for this forecast. Now I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the extra juiciness that is this ingression of Venus and Leo. On June 6th, she'll be at 0 degrees, and Mars will be at 9 degrees in Leo on that day. He ingressed, like I told you, into Leo on the 1st of May. Mars likes to be in Leo. This is emboldened masculinity. This is confident men. Men who are born with this are alpha males. They carry themselves confidently. They conduct business with confidence. And they're very appealing to we women that like our alpha males. Venus is getting closer and closer. She can't wait to be near this man. That's how we feel. The more feminine you are, and the more relatable you are to the opposite sex, the more appealing this energy will be. So this can be happening on Tuesday for you or Wednesday the 7th. And what is it like? Well, passions flare. This is the energy of spring fever. Now, I want to talk to you, because I have to, about the possibilities here. So Venus and Mars are the lovers, but we know there's lots of kinds of love that people make. And we also know that not two people together are the same in relationship as any two other people. God made us unique and individual. And that is why we are frustrated by our lovers, but we still love them. We can be married forever, but we're still going to fight. That's normal. That's just human nature. The negative side of this energy is controlling, possessive, arrogant, stubborn, and haughty. All the readings that I did, women that are born with their Venus and Leos are often not women who want to be mothers. These are women that are success-driven and have developed corporations or are CEOs. This is not a very feminine energy for Venus. It's bossy and it's more masculine in its expression than most of the other Venuses. So that's the negative side of how this can work. And Mars and Leo too. Leos have a pride, like lions have a pride. And Mars and Leo can get full of themselves. When you're gifted high masculinity, you've got the most muscles, you've got the most beautiful body, you're naturally athletic, there's a prowess about you. You can get a little arrogant with that because you realize that not all men are made of that God energy. That's literally the sun and Mars together. And when you have that configuration, and you'll learn these things from me if I'm your astrology teacher, Sun and Mars together are men that are dynamos. They use their masculinity and their sexuality in very powerful ways, but the corruption comes when the arrogance falls into this. Now, the good part of this configuration together, Venus and Mars and Leo, which we have all month long, this is the whole world. And I'm going to break it down and get really personal for you so you can enjoy this time. June can be a very passionate month. In the goodness of what this means together, this is regal love. This is royal love. This is hearts on fire. This is high passion. This is sexual heat. This is status. When a couple have these two planets together in Leo, they're power couples. They're prominent. They're of status and success. It's a formality in love. And there's, again, all kinds of flavors and tones to romance and to lovemaking. But Venus and Leo and Mars and Leo, it's a couple of status, a couple that we look up to, a couple that are in an authority position. And this is formality in the realms of marriage and commitment. Leos, Tauruses, Scorpios, and Aquarians like commitment. We're good at it. We stay for the course. We handle our problems and stay despite the problems, know that the marriage is worth it, or the commitment is worth it, or the partnership is worth it. Now, the neutral parts of these two, Venus and Mars and Leo, are that it would be relatable if you're not in sexual relationships, or you're beyond those years, or you're in a celibate situation in your life. This still is great energy non-sexually. How? Because the sun is creative power. The sun is the manifestation of how mankind inhibits, or inhabits the earth. It's procreation power. And yes, that's sexual. And Venus and Mars they're the lovers. But if you're not in that stage of life, and whether it's by choice or maturity or whatever the situation is, this is still highly creative energy. You're going to find out, I'm going to tell you, Leo, this is baby making energy for all of you. So if you have your 3 keys in Leo, especially Leo rising, this is a time when babies are being born in families. This is a time when lots of wildlife are giving birth and new families are being born. So if you're not sexual, please know this is still a highly creative month for you. Well, what is creation? If it's not procreation in the form of biology, it's artistic creation. It's creation in business. It's creation, whatever your forte is, the potential is very high and very good for you to create new things. Are you building something? Are you planning something? Are you creating a screenplay? Are you composing for a group of musicians? Are you an artist? Do you make clay and mold and create dinnerware? Do you work for a company that's about design? This is excellent energy. June is a great month for you to pour yourself and to receive heaven's creative abilities. Let's see. Now, at the end of the month, I want you to know that this can be a little bit problematic, especially June 30th. I'll talk more about that when I do the weeklies for that time. But take good advantage of what I'm talking about. In my reverence and adoration for one of my favorite teachers, Nikola Stoyanovich, I want to talk to you about why this June 30th in particular, at the end of this month, can be problematic. In that negative energy that can be Venus and Mars and Leo, the blazing fires that happen when you're impassioned can turn into possession, obsessiveness, and that kind of passion is very similar to what happens when the moon is in Scorpio. The late, great Nikola Stoyanovich had a degree theory, and he's written books that I sent to all of my students, and consultants and people that I did readings for after we lost Nicholas, so that you could get your mittens on those books, because he obviously has passed on and will never be able to write again. I am a student of that degree theory, and the end of the month, on the 30th, we have energies that can be very problematic, especially for Leo, Scorpio, and by degree Aquarius, by Nicola's degree theory. The Aquarians that are in conflict with Leos most of the month, if you've got siblings, one is a Leo, one is the Aquarius, June can be problematic. If you have a boss or a subordinate where one or the other is Leo and Aquarius, if it's the subordinate who's the Leo, he's going to try to usurp the boss and try to tower over what the boss says and undermine his authority. If it's an Aquarian boss that can be very cold and very direct and very stubborn about what this Leo is going to want to do in his or her creative passion, and that can get you fired, Leo. So one of the things that you have to remember in the problematic areas is, sorry, but we do have pecking orders still yet. And when you are employed by an entity that's paying your bills in your way, you sometimes have to suck it up and do what you don't want to do. And if you're in that position, Leo, use the creative energy of June to get you out of that employment situation. You are a creative person, and it would be very difficult for you to work with someone who's not so creative. And that might be the universe telling you, get into design, go into architecture, use your abilities, Leo, to make manifest a satisfying creative career. It's important. So I caution you on that day. Now, on that same day, Leo, Venus is at a degree that is hot and fiery too. And so the advice that I just gave you can apply to Aries and Sagittarians as well. So now and if you want, comment below. I'm going to have a little bit of time to take a look. Comment below and let me know where your 3 keys are if you haven't already. I have a private Facebook group that I'm going to encourage you to join. You'll meet lots of wonderful people all over the world, but there are criteria to get in. It's not open, it's private, which helps us get rid of a lot of abstract noise that none of us need. So you're welcome to come and look at that. If you like astrology, all of my students are members in that group, and you can learn a lot about astrology. So now I'm going to talk to you about what this energy is going to be like through the signs. And I want you to stay focused on Venus's energy. So Venus is the feminine energy in the dynamic that is the lovers. And this doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you're in a same-sex relationship or a heterosexual relationship. One or the other of the partners is more feminine than the other, and one is more masculine than the other. These are the sexes. Venus is feminine, Mars is masculine. So if you're Leo rising, Aries rising, or Sagittarius rising, the Venus and Mars is going to bring lots of passion into your life. Again, this is spring fever energy. And this next position applies to Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgos, most especially, also Scorpio. This Venus and Mars interaction throughout the entire month of June is going to bring a lot of goodwill and good stamina and the desire to be cooperative in your relationships. Really stay tuned in the Venus energy. If you tap into the Mars energy, then things are going to be difficult with your partners. But this time, this month of June, is highly creative for getting along with your partners. This next configuration applies to Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. This is a great time to mix and mingle. Don't stay home if these are your 3 keys or you have stelliums in these times. This is a time for you to be out and about. It's your nature anyway. It's your birthday month, Gemini, and you should be busy. And I would also say that this has the potential, especially around the full moon, for lovers who've been on the rocks to break from each other. So you've got to be very mindful of what you want in your relationships, and take advantage of the sun while it's in Gemini. Don't get too mental. Concentrate more on fun. And again, stay close to that Venusian energy. Now, if you have your Venus and Mars and Leo, this is for you. This especially applies to Leos and Aquarians, and this is about passion. This is very, very good for ambition and passion and creative forces. But you got to be straight about what you want, or you can really, really, you've got to be heart-centered no matter what, especially Aquarians. Leo's a big love. It's a big heart. And this is high passion. This is baby-making energy. And you can, it really puts the spotlight on love. You can expect Leo's new family members to come. Comment below if that's already happening and in the works. So this is very, very good for those signs. Now, if you are, for you, Libras, excuse me, for you, Virgo, Taurus, and Scorpio, you've got to be really mindful about your Venus and get yourself into the energy of the focus. The question that I have for you is, if you had 7 days left, what would you do? Would you be focusing on the problems? Because you always do, Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus. Would you instead use love? Use these two lovers to your advantage and let love take precedence over all your problems. This applies to Cancers and Pisces and Scorpio as well. Really what most matters to you, because it's love, guys. It's not the problems. It's not the work. If you had 7 days left, you wouldn't be fussing and fighting. Let your partner take precedence over all those problems, and that energy will be very, very good for you. And the same thing goes for Cancers, Pisces, and Scorpios. Otherwise, you're going to get yourself into some tangles. So try to listen to that quiet for this month and listen to what really matters to yourself. Now, this sounds like a bit of a repeat, but it's not. The Venus, and if any of your 3 keys are in Libras, Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius, also you, Aries, this harmony between Venus and Mars is going to benefit you in business. And it's going to be most pleasing for those happy couples and couples who stay focused. This do less me and a lot more we if you're these signs, because you've got to realize why you're involved with the people that you are, whether they're your business partners or your lovers and people and couples, and make that matter. There was an old saying in the 70s that even posters and billboards and stickers to put on your car that said "Make love, not war." Please listen closely to that. Aries, Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius. Now, if this Venus and Mars is this message is for 8th house matters, which are critical matters, and this Venus and Mars and Leo for Scorpio, Pisces, Cancers, and Taurus, most especially, can mean material gain in marriage and through legacy. Yes, indeed, you could be getting an inheritance and the benefits of your kindness if this falls here. This is a real closeness between couples that I mentioned in the forecast in the dailies when I told you how much I love the moon with Pluto and the moon, whether it's sextile, trine, or in a conjunction to Pluto. This is a real closeness that's undeniable, open, and here for you, Scorpio and Taurus, Cancer and Pisces. Now, when this conjunction, Venus and Mars, come together, this applies to you fire signs, Aries, Sagittarius, Leo, and it's going to apply to you too, Gemini, through the week, but all month long. This is a wonderful time when you get the accolades and recognition for those things that you've achieved, and all of your humanitarian acts, your loving acts. And this is a great time to vacation overseas, all you fire signs and Gemini. So I would do this. We've got something coming up that I'm going to talk about in depth. Venus is going retrograde, and that's going to last for a long 3.5 months. So go take your vacations now if you can, all signs, because things will be problematic with money and value and in relationship when that happens. Now, if you're Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, listen up to this forecast. This can be a great time with friends and organizations that you support when Mars and Venus are in Leo. But you could be having trouble with siblings and other people that are trying to detract what the point of the group or organization is. Again, try to stay tapped in that Venus energy and not let things get out of control. Again, this is the warning too, where Gemini can be at each other's throat with Pisces types. You're just going to get sick and tired of all their promises and none of their follow through. And Libra will be at odds with Aries, and Leos and Aquarians can be at odds with each other. I hope that doesn't happen. Now, the very last potential, when Venus and Mars happen to fall in the sign of the 12th house, I am cautioning you, Pisces, Scorpio, Virgos, and all the twin signs. This is the energy of secret dalliances and the energy of going behind people's backs. This is those trysts that happen in love. This is the life of secret affairs in money and business with Mars and Venus here. I'm going to tell you that if you don't stay on the side of Venus and end those treacherous relationships that do affect everyone, you're going to suffer poor health. And so you should, again, get your priorities in order if you're any of these signs, because this is just a cataclysmic destruction for all involved, whether you're brought into it unwittingly because you have a partner that's unfaithful, or whether or not you're the deliberate person having clandestine relationships behind your business partner's back or your lover's back. This month can be very tumultuous if that's the case. And I would say that that the freedom that you feel when you live your life in honesty and out in the light gives you good health, great friendships, great relationships. And so that's what I have to tell you about that. The last things that I want to say is all month long while Venus is racing toward Mars, this is really exciting energy, and it's a time to invest in love. And if you are single and you don't want to be single, June is a great month for you to meet your mate. No one wants to live alone. Nobody willingly chooses that, as the same way that no one willingly chooses to be divorced. This energy is so good for love and money. And when you do things in formal ways and you do things in committed ways, Leo is a very, very committed lover, and they're very choosy about who they want to be in bed with, in marriages with, in partnerships with. They're ruled by the sun, which is regality and royalty, and that's why Leos like to be adored. But this is wonderful. This is also a wanting phase for Venus. She's getting closer and closer. She's getting closer and closer to love. So it's new excitement for people that have been in loving relationships for a long time. And I would say, Aries, prove your fervor. Leo, go get him or her. And Sagittarius, remember the fires of desire and fan the flames. Now again, remember my blistered bottom foot. This can go awry if you get overly possessive or overly obsessive when it first starts. This is fiery energy, so it's going to get hot fast. It's going to burn really bright, and it's wonderful, and it's exciting. But if you are controlling, like Virgo can be, like Scorpio can be, like Capricorn can be, you could literally put the flames out of this good fire. I want to talk to you a little bit on, it is July 23rd actually, that Venus goes retrograde. I'm giving you this heads up if you work in finance, if you're considering switching investments around in your portfolios, if you're thinking about getting married, engaged, if you are in love and approaching that. It's really not good when Venus is retrograde, which happens between July 23 and September 3rd. It's a time to be very, very careful with love and money. It's also a very bad time to have elective surgeries. things will go awry during this time. Errors occur in your finances and in relationships. So what it's good for, though, is in the Venusian realm of all those rewords I talked to you about, this is the time from July 23rd to September 3rd to repair the pain that has happened in your loving relationship or your financial situations. This is a time to be frugal with your money, and this is a time to really put in extra effort at work, repairing what you want. You know, do a good review of whether you're going to diversify things in your financial portfolios. It's a time for repair, restoration, and reality checks, which is your financial well-being as well as things that you can look forward to in your future forecast. It'll be, I think that also you'll have success when you reevaluate your connection to the physical world and material world. And this is a time when you can analyze where the difficulty is and have realizations about what your personal needs are during this transitional time. And but it is not a good time to get married or get engaged when Venus is retrograde. It'll be, you'll feel like you're in a relationship that's forever more work than it is pleasure. Venus is a sign. I'm a double Taurus. I'm ruled by Venus. Venus is an energy that attracts beauty and wealth and prosperity. She doesn't have to chase it. Though she's getting closer to Mars in this month of June, that means the lovers are coming closer together in a very royal, regal way, in a very formal way, in a very passionate and creative way. So that's my forecast for the first 9 days of June. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you can get on some vacations. I hope you enjoy the pleasurable side of this energy and stay focused on it rather when it turns controlling, obsessive, and possessive, because it can also do that. So take care, everyone. Remember, you can achieve all of my services at www.3keysastrology.com. I love teaching astrology, and it would be an honor to be your teacher. It is a very fun profession, and you're going to meet people that you wouldn't imagine you'd meet from every country on this beautiful big planet and make friendships with like-minded thinkers. We are an intellectual group. We're a rare group. We're also ancient. We're one of the professions first ever between 5,000 and 6,000 years ago. We're scientists, and we love the magic that is in the spiritual universe. And I pray that you're not alone and that you're not staying at home, walled in, wishing and hoping. This energy with the sun in Gemini saying, go to outdoor festivities, get involved with groups that you enjoy, and go meet people, because there's someone out there who wants love just as much as you do. And that is the most powerful force on earth. That is the energy that I want you to be tapped in and focus on more this whole month. And love, like Venus and Leo, that's very big-hearted, lion-like love. That's love for your whole pride, love for your whole family, love for your whole group, and especially love for your partner. That's a partnership that puts the one they love on high and that protects. This energy is very protective energy. It's so good, can be so good. I hope that you can stay calm, quiet, and peaceful during this full moon. I hope you don't twin off Pisces, Sag, and Gemini. I hope you integrate those sides of yourself that may be split and torn. And I hope more than anything that you don't mentalize this month of June, that you're more physical with it and enjoy the lovers and the lovers' energy. Take care, everyone. I'll talk to you next week. Thank you so much for subscribing and joining me.